So I had a client ask me how to identify the terminals coming off of the 5205 Trine plug-in transformer, and there are no installation instructions in the box. You know, it's a plug-in style transformer. You know, the issue is if what you want to know is just what voltage is coming out of it, it could be confusing because this transformer is capable of 3 voltages. First of all, it's always an AC transformer. It's always going to provide AC voltage. It'll provide 8 volts AC, 16 volts AC, or 24 volts AC. Any of those 3 voltages can be accomplished here. Well, if you look at that, you say, well, that's a bit confusing because there are 3 terminals there. Yeah, it is confusing, I suppose. There's no question that it's a bit confusing. Here's how it works. So we just have to determine where to put the 2 wires, right? Isn't that the bottom line? Where to stick our 2 wires? First of all, you have to know what voltage you require. I happen to be doing a small project here where I'm going to take this annunciator and I am going to demonstrate what a normally open door contact is. And I'm going to use the annunciator to show when the circuit is closed and when it's open. Well, the first thing we needed to do is plug in a transformer that will give us the AC voltage that the annunciator can take, which, according to the box, is 6 to 8 volts AC. Okay, great. But where do I put my wires is the bottom line. So here's where you put the wires, and this other camera that's up here, right there, okay, is going to show us what to do. So you do need a voltmeter, and a voltmeter is a very typical low cost of ownership piece of equipment. There's not much to it, although it's incredibly capable. Not much to it meaning if you need to do basic sort of troubleshooting, you know, checking for the presence of voltage in either AC or DC, you know, you don't need to mess with a whole lot of this, and the installation instructions themselves are certainly going to allow you to understand it. So I've got my, I have my voltmeter set to AC current, which is right here. I think I've got it set to 700. Yeah, we're going to turn that down to 200. You want to have that number that you're setting it to be greater than, but not more than necessary, greater than what you expect to be reading. So I'm going to set that to 200. I don't understand the importance of that setting, except that when I was taught how to use a voltmeter, I was told to do it that way, and I've always left the curiosity right there. So what we're going to do, we've got the voltmeter turned on, and I've got it set, obviously, so that you can see what's happening on the voltmeter. So we're going to plug in our 5205. I've got this wire going back to just an outlet. When I plug that in, I'm not concerned about anything happening because I'm not going to cross any of these terminals. So I'm not concerned about anything happening. And it's low voltage, and I don't know the amperage that this is putting out, but it would be expressed in milliamps. Yeah, sure. So a small amount of amperage. Well, a reasonably small amount of amperage, in the sense of, depending on the voltage, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that so clearly. Probably not. The 16 volts is putting out 625 milliamps, so 5/8 of an amp. So that's amperage. 8 volts is putting out 1.25 amp. That's amp. That's a lot of amperage. 24 volts is putting out 0.834 0.834 amps, or 834 milliamps. A milliamp is 1,000th of an amp. So if you have 1,000 milliamps, you've got 1 amp. So I've got 3 terminals. Well, I can stick my probes onto these terminals, and I can figure out what it is. So here we go. I'm just going to take these terminals. I'm going to put one down to what's numbered 3. These are numbered 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to put one probe down on 3, and the other probe down on 4. So 3 and 4 are giving us 17.1 volts. So I'm going to say that's the 16 volt. Again, we're going to do 8, 16, or 24 volt AC. I'm going to keep my probe down on 3, then go to number 5. All right, so that's giving me 26 volts. So right now we've got 17 and 26. I'm going to put my probe down on the last combination, 4 and 5, and that should give me my small rating. Okay, so 8.8 volts. Okay, so 3 and 4 is giving me supposed to be my 16 volts. 3 and 5 is giving me my 24 volts. 4 and 5 is giving me my 8 volts. So for my project with my annunciator that's rated at 6-8 volts, I'll be connecting my wires to 4 and 5. That's how you determine what's happening on that. You know, I think the reason for making this video is someone might just be tempted to call Trine and say, where do I put the wires? Okay, yeah, that's a great question. I would, there should be something in the box for the person who's the uninitiated, I suppose. But if you have a voltmeter, there's no reason to expend the energy. There's no reason to have someone at Trine stop and answer that type of question. Any other questions on the Trine series of transformers or any other electrified equipment? My name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and thank you. If you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please click subscribe as well, and even share the video with someone that you know. And if you have any questions for a future video, please send them our way and we will make every attempt to oblige. And thank you very much.